The just released GDP figures by the Ghana Statistical Service show a decline in growth of the Ghanaian economy, with the industry sector recording negative growth again. The economy in the second quarter of 2023 slowed to 3.2%, which is relatively smaller than what was recorded last year. Fishing, construction, electricity, and manufacturing subsectors all contracted. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kwabena also revised the first quarter growth rate from the earlier 4.2% to 3.3%.
2013 as a base year period. We start with current prices from an oil and a non-oil perspective. From an oil perspective, provisional 2023 quarter 2 GDP estimate stands at 185.7 billion for the second quarter of 2023, relative to 130.7 billion for the same period, second quarter 2022, indicating about a 55 billion difference between 2022 quarter 2 and 2023 quarter 2. Then from an oil perspective, for the period April to June 2023, a non-oil GDP recorded 175.1 billion Ghana cedis for the second quarter of 2023, relative to 121.4 billion for the same period, second quarter 2022. Turning to the adjustment for prices, GDP in constant terms, for the period April to June 2023, second quarter 2023, we recorded 42.1 billion for the second quarter of 2023, relative to 40.8 billion for the same period, second quarter 2022, indicating a 1.3 billion difference in terms of value of GDP constant terms between 2022 and 2023. From a non-oil perspective, 39.7 billion for the second quarter of 2023, relative to 38.5 billion for the same period, second quarter of 2022. From a constant perspective, oil GDP grew in the second quarter by 3.2%, and this indicates a 0.3 percentage drop for the same growth rate that was recorded for the second quarter of 2022. In the second quarter of 2022, the economy grew by 3.5%, and in the second quarter of 2023, we have seen the economy growing by 3.2%, indicating a slowdown in the growth rate relative to the same period, second quarter 2022. From a non-oil perspective, we equally recorded a growth rate of 3.2% between the second quarter of 2022 and the second quarter of 2023. This indicates a 1.6 percentage point slowdown for the period 2021 quarter 2.
My colleague Isaac Kofi with the research deck has been studying the data. He joins me in studio with more. Kofi, give us a sector-by-sector breakdown of the figures.
So, Aisha, the headline figure for the economic growth is 3.2%. So the economy has actually expanded by 3.2%. But the reason why we are saying the economy has slowed down is that if you compare this 3.2% in the second quarter of 2022, to that of 2022, there is some sort of significant difference. That's why we say the economy has slowed down.
Okay.
But if you look at the sector-by-sector analysis, the agricultural sector increased or grew by 1.3%. Some of the subsectors under the agri sector actually contracted. So, for instance, forestry, we know there's issue with Galamsey. Forestry and logging actually contracted by 1.1%. Industry sector continues to record negative growth rate. This time around in the second quarter of 2023, it was 0.8% reduction. If you look at the subsectors that contracted under the industry sector, we have construction contracting by 3.1%, electricity also reducing by 1.2%, manufacturing 0.1%, water supply, management and remediation activities 0.1%, and in the services sector, we have it growing by 2.6%. But we have subsectors under the services sector, such as repair of vehicles and household goods, all contracting by 0.9%.
We understand that the second quarter growth rate has been revised.
Yeah.
What necessitated this revision?
So the government statistician has been explaining, according to him, the data that they have for the first quarter was provisional data. But if they look at the final data that they have, they recorded a growth rate of more than 10% for the services sector, and they've revised this growth rate to 6%. So in the first quarter, you do not have the 4.2% growth rate that was recorded earlier, but now it's around 3.3% in the first quarter. So the economy has actually contracted by some sort of, significant, it's very significant, from a 4.2 to what we have around 3.2% in 2023.
Kofi J is with our research desk. He's been explaining and breaking the latest information from the Ghana Statistical Service on the second quarter of the economy. Now,